All right, guys, welcome back to Days of Darkness and welcome to my review for Halloween Resurrection. This one came out in 2002. It is starring Busta Rhymes, Tyra Banks, and Jamie Lee Curtis, and was directed by Rick Rosenthal. So, let's go over a couple things real quick before we dive deep into what is easily the bottom of the fucking barrel when it comes to this franchise. I will make no secret. I will come right out and say it. I fucking do not like this movie whatsoever. But moving on from that, you'll notice a little bit of a format change here. We're rolling with an audio-only format. If you guys dig that, let me know. If you want to look at my ugly mug for 30 to 45 minutes instead, maybe we will go back. Or maybe nobody gives a shit either way, because I've been gone for 8 months and people don't even remember the old format. So, we'll roll with the punches. We'll see what works and we'll see what doesn't work. But yeah, just let me know. Also, for all of you who have stuck around, which by looking at my subscriber count is a vast majority of you, thank you. I've always been someone who has encouraged people to prioritize themselves and, take a break when you need to take a break. Did I plan on my break being 8 months long? No, but, country's kind of going to shit. A lot of things around us are just, there's a lot of negativity in the world. And one thing early on that I promised myself with this channel is that I was not going to come on here and ham and egg it up and pretend like everything's okay when it's not. And, there was just some stuff that I needed to address, and I needed to take a break and kind of realign myself, and I have done that successfully. I will always continue to do that so long as I am breathing, and I encourage you all to do the same. And yeah, just thank you for sticking around. But you guys are not here to hear the story of the past 8 months. You are here to listen to me talk about a dog shit Halloween movie, which in this case is Halloween Resurrection. Man, like I said before, this is the bottom of the fucking barrel. This movie sucks. Let's first get into it. If you remember 8 months ago, good God, when we talked about Halloween H2O, I basically went on to, not to spoil that review if you haven't watched it. I encourage you to. But basically, I said that it's not a perfect movie by any stretch. There's certainly aspects of that movie that I do not like. But I don't think it is an awful Halloween movie by any means. I think it's definitely, it's got its wrinkles, but don't we all? One of the things I really, really admired about that one is the fact that they stuck the landing and they fucking straight up ended Michael Myers. There is no debate. That motherfucker got his head parted from his body. He is done. He is no more. That's it. Let's go home. I've always really admired that about that movie. Obviously, Mustafa Akkad, God rest his soul, of course, but, Michael Myers was his breadwinner, man, I mean, I can't fault a man for wanting to make his money, but, yeah, he was very serious about him not dying so we could keep this series up, for better or for worse. In this case, much, much, much worse. But this was always the plan. There was always a plan to keep the series going, yada, yada, yada. We all are well aware of that by now. So we get Halloween Resurrection, and we get the horse shit, stupid, phoned in, hammy, nonsensical explanation of Michael Myers switching during, at the end of the brawl with him and Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode, whatever you want to call her, in H2O. He crushes the larynx and voice box of an EMT worker who happens to have the same build as him. He switches their outfits and he sneaks off into the night. Couple things wrong with that. Obviously, okay, let's go with it. Okay, he crushes his voice box. All well and good. Take the fucking mask off, dude. like what is stop? I get it. You can't speak. Your voice is fucked. Take the mask off. Like, what are you doing? You had ample time. And again, this was like the plan. This is what they had in store for the next movie. So why, when he's pinned to the tree in H2O, do you have his hands perfectly free for him to fucking take off the mask and at least show Laurie, hey, I'm not fucking Michael Myers. Don't cut my fucking head off. I don't know. Just food for thought. Anyway, but nonsense, bullshit aside, it is very well known that Jamie Lee Curtis was not thrilled about being in this movie. Pretty much wanted nothing to do with it, but she did sign a contract, so she had to do it. So we get the opening of Halloween Resurrection, which is goofy, just stupid bullshit explaining, it's literally just a lore dump of how we got here and how Michael is still alive. And they just kind of barf this information at you real quick so, we can move on with the movie. Again, very cheap, very dumb, no artistic integrity. I almost said autistic integrity. It's not what I meant to say. Artistic integrity, just zero, none whatsoever. And to follow it all up, Laurie is killed within the first 10 minutes, which was the, wishes of Jamie Lee Curtis. She's in and out. I think she said at first, she was only supposed to be on screen for 30 seconds. And, they got her to 10 minutes, paid her a fuck ton of money, which she then subsequently donated to charity, which, we love us some Jamie Lee Curtis. Good on her for doing that. But yeah, man, we have a good little chase scene. Decent. Nothing too crazy. Michael kills a couple, dumbass security guards. Then he proceeds to get a trap sprung on him in which he's hanging upside down on this roof where Laurie would have gotten the opportunity to do this when she is, an inmate in an asylum. I don't know. Or a patient, rather, I should say, in an asylum. I don't think inmate is the right term, so whoopsies. But where she would have gotten the time to do that, God only knows, but here we are. Anyway, Michael then proceeds to fuck with her and, act like he's trying to take the mask off, which, again, it's not hard. I guess these masks that he wears are just impossible to fucking take off for whatever reason. But he's showing it might not be me. And Laurie's in her psychosis. So this historically very smart final girl becomes very stupid in what ends up being her last moments, because Michael gets the jump on her and stabs her in the gut. And she proceeds to kiss her masked brother on the lips and falls to her death. Very goofy, kooky climax to, in my opinion, one of the greatest final girls of all time. And yeah, it's a damn shame that they felt the need. I mean, I get it. I can at least admire them for wrapping up the Laurie Strode story before we go on to something new. But, man, rough start for this movie. Very, very rough start. But moving on, we get into the bulk of this idea for Halloween Resurrection, which is a reality TV show. which is being broadcasted on the internet. 2002, the internet is still kind of a relatively new, spooky thing for a lot of people. Not a new thing in general, but, a lot more people are getting access to it, and it is a lot more of a, it's still it's a technology that's in its infancy. I'll say that. Still very much so cutting edge. I mean, now the internet, you need the internet to do anything at all. I'm not talking to you right now if it's not for the internet. But at the time, it's still a very new, cutting edge thing, relatively speaking. So I guess the thought process was, let's just throw it on the internet and it'll make for a new, fun concept for Michael Myers. Spoiler alert, it is not. And basically the idea here is to get these college kids in the Myers house where they are just supposed to spend the night and kind of walk around and just look at spooky shit. And obviously there's some kayfabe going on there, which we'll talk about here in a second. But very, very goofy. Also, the concept of the live stream is just, it doesn't feel very thought out, which I know is like shocker for this movie. But at one point there are people that are very, very much so intending on fucking. And is this, is there an age restriction on this? Like, is this just porn now? Like, what are we doing? Like, what? It's just, again, not very well thought out. The characters here, you've noticed I haven't said any of their names because they're all just nothing happening. I think the most interesting relationship in this movie is definitely, his name's Decker. I do know, or maybe that's his fake name. I think that's his fake name. But he's this kid who's posing as he's much older than what he is, and he's talking to this college girl, which is our final girl of the movie. And it's a relationship that doesn't really go anywhere. I think it's just kind of written into the script as a way to showcase the live stream aspect of it from like a different perspective. Because nothing happens as far as their relationship. Nothing ever really develops. He just kind of, at the end of the movie, he's like, you won, congratulations, and that's it. Like, that's his character is straight up meant to be, I guess an audience surrogate. But very, very weird idea for a Halloween movie. Also, we get Busta Rhymes in this, which, as far as the celebrity involvement, Tyra Banks really doesn't have a whole lot to do in this movie. She's very much so just kind of a background character, which someone at the level of Tyra Banks, especially in the early 2000s, like, I'm kind of surprised they just kind of had her, off to the side and very much so not involved. Like, she's really just watching screens for a majority of this movie. But Busta Rhymes definitely is a lot more active. And I'll say this. There are a lot of reasons to shit on this movie. I have been doing so the entire time, and I will continue to do so after this. But one of the things that I hear that I vehemently disagree with are the people that say that Busta Rhymes ruined this movie. Bullshit. Am I saying that the man delivers an Oscar-worthy performance? No. Am I saying that his character is not goofy, corny, and hokey? No. His character is very much those things. But for God's sake, in a movie that is filled with just cookie cutter, college kid, nothing interesting bullshit characters to have this very charismatic, loud, boisterous, pretty funny character, man, I'll take it. I think Busta Rhymes is really the only aspect of this movie, for the most part, that makes this thing watchable. I mean, the guy just has a presence on screen. I mean, he's an entertainer. He knows how to entertain people. And by God, man, he does it. I think, we have a performance here where, he just had fun with it. And I can respect that and admire that. Again, is he an Oscar-worthy performer? No, he's not. But, I don't know. I just wanted to come to bat for Busta a little bit here because, a lot of people shit on him for this. And I don't think it's warranted. I think there's plenty of more legitimate reasons to shit on Halloween Resurrection than Busta Rhymes, for sure. One of the biggest reasons that I haven't gone over yet is the fact that, my God, they've neutered Michael in this movie. Literally, at one point. They literally shocked the man's testicles, but we'll get there when we get there. But... man, they did my boy wrong. I'll tell you that right now. As far as the look of Michael, besides certain shots where they got a mask where his hair is very, it almost looks like a pompadour. It's very odd looking. Besides those shots, I don't think Michael looks horrible in this. I don't think he looks great. I definitely think they made the mask a little too detailed, if that makes any sense. To me, the Myers mask should very much so be a blank, expressionless face. And he looks very angry in this movie, and it kind of looks goofy. But compared to H2O and compared to some other entries in the series, I do think his look is not awful by any means. The character is not great. We obviously, these kids are supposed to be walking around this, the abandoned Myers house, and they kind of kayfabe it up a little bit and show all these fucking... show all these things trying to say that Michael was abused and all this stuff, and all this ends up being horse shit. It's all just set dressing placed there by Busta Rhymes and his crew consisting of 2 people for this full production, we're supposed to believe. But yeah, all that ends up being horse shit. It's not real. But they end up, the 2 characters that were the 2 characters that were getting ready to cause this stream to be streamed on Pornhub instead of just their normal website, whatever the fuck they were using. These 2 kids end up breaking through the wall and find Michael's actual hideout where he has a Raggedy Ann doll that he's shoved nails into the eye sockets of, and he's eating rats and yada yada. It's to me... I don't know. That doesn't feel... I don't mind the idea of him, having to eat animals and all this shit. But, it's just... it demystifies the character to me. To me, I feel like if you would have just had... again, it's very much so the Jason Goes to Hell effect. Of if you had just a regular old serial killer character in this role for this movie and would have called it, Evil Online or whatever the fuck, I don't know. I think it would have at least played better. I think it still would have been a bad movie, but at least, you would have had a blank slate there to work off of where something like this doesn't feel so egregious. But to have Michael Myers in that role, again, it's just... mysticism and mystery are the big things that carry that Michael Myers character to... his best movies, is you don't know anything about him. He's just this shape. There's no motive. He's just pure evil. And I think sometimes writers have a hard time wrapping their heads around what makes that so cool. And a lot of people just need shit explained to them. So we get shit like this, which just, again, it just doesn't, it kind of cuts the legs out from the character, and he just turns into a generic, stupid serial killer to me, which is not how I like to see my boy portrayed, but that is how he is here. But, you know, it is what it is. As far as kills go in this one, they're solid. They're goofy, you know. We get some homage kills. Like, there's this one character who's really into cooking. That's like his whole thing. That's all he can fucking talk about throughout the entire movie is cooking. That's all he can talk about is fucking cooking. Anyway, he gets killed in the kitchen, of course. And he gets the old, it's a Halloween movie, so we have to pin somebody to the wall or a door or something with a butcher knife. Where the butcher knife just becomes the length of Excalibur, and you can stab all the way through the fucking body into the wall and pin him there. Which is not realistic, but fuck it, it is what it is. It's in like all the goddamn Halloween movies, so it might as well be here. But, you know, that's a solid kill. We get, speaking of things that a butcher knife would absolutely not be able to do, we get him just cleanly decapitating a woman with a butcher knife. Just, I mean, like, it was like he sharpened this thing, like, to the fucking, I don't know, however you want to say it. Like, it's just sharp. This knife is just so goddamn powerful that it can cut through human skin, muscle, bone, just in one fail. Like, no. But whatever, it's fun. Her head goes tumbling down the stairs and freaks everybody out, so that's all well and good. But, you know, that one's goofy. We get the guy from American Pie, which is, I do not remember his name, nor do I remember the name of the actor, but he's, he gets stabbed in the top of the head when Michael busts through a mirror, which that one was pretty fun. That is one of the better kills. For me, though, I am going to go with the tripod kill, where he kills the camera guy, just sticks a tripod right in his fucking throat. That one is definitely the funnest kill. You get the POV shot with the camera actually, you know, going towards the guy, and you see him get stabbed. That one's pretty fun. It definitely leans on the live stream gimmick, and, you know, again, it's not like the greatest thing in the world or anything, but for this piece of shit movie, it'll work. Oh, and speaking of the camera guy, at one point, you know, this is something that everybody talks about, and it's one of the reasons, again, why Michael Myers just does not work in this movie. Busta Rhymes is supposed to dress up as Michael Myers, which is just saying that is fucking hilarious. But he ends up, you know, trying to prowl around the house and scare the kids, and then of course he runs into the real Michael Myers, and he basically just bitches him out. You know, you're not, and he thinks it's the camera guy who got killed by the tripod. He's like, you're not playing Michael Myers. I'm Michael Myers. It's just, you know, again, goofy, stupid, funny. But as far as the character of Michael Myers goes, it's like, yeah, you would have gotten eviscerated, like, very quickly. And he just walks away. He's like, oh, fuck it. It's like, not for me. You know, it's a funny scene and whatever, but it's just, yeah, it's just hokey and stupid. But moving on, this movie does have an ending, thank God, in which our young protagonist, final girl, who I have barely spoken about in this entire review because I feel like they barely paid attention when writing about her. So yeah. But anyway, she, you know, puts up a decent fight against Michael, but, you know, at the end, he is, like, just too much, and Busta Rhymes, who we thought was killed at one point, ends up making a triumphant return, and Kung Fu fights Michael Myers, kicks his ass, like hands Michael Myers both ass cheeks. Straight up. And then ends up shocking Michael Myers' testicles. And for the first time, besides like the off grunt here and there throughout the series, we hear Michael Myers vocally emote, where he screams in pain from having his testicles electrocuted. And then he burns up. They end up recovering his body, and then we get the jump scare at the end with a burnt, shitty-looking Michael Myers mask of like, oh, he's still alive, and for the sequel that never happens. Because obviously this movie didn't do well. Obviously this movie didn't review well. This movie's a piece of shit. And literally almost ruined the Halloween franchise, and actually kind of did for a number of years. But we do end up getting the Rob Zombie movies later on, which we will talk about in the near future. I promise it will not take me 8 months to talk about those. But yeah, man. This movie is frustrating. This movie is very, very frustrating, even after so many years. Even after other Halloween entries that are also not great. This is the Halloween movie that everybody goes back to and says, oh, well, is it as bad as Resurrection? It's tragic. That is not something that you want to be involved in, and I feel very, very bad for the cast and crew because, you know, despite how bad this movie is, even making a bad movie takes a lot of fucking work. And I can't imagine how disheartening it must be to put in a lot of work on something and have it be Halloween Resurrection. Just another of many modern Hollywood tragedy stories, but it is what it is. And guys, that'll do it for my review of Halloween Resurrection. As always, thank you for being patient with me and waiting it out and waiting for the triumphant return. It feels good to finally be back and finally be doing this again. And yeah, as always, guys, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other, and for the love of all things gory, keep watching horror. All right, guys. Have a good day.